Hi, everybody. I'm Lori, and I wanted to talk about where I came from. And I don't mean my family of origin, where my mom and dad raised the five of us together, but I'm talking about the fundamentalist Christian underground, very much separate from the rest of society culture that I spent 20 years in. We weren't supposed to be at all outwardly focused on looks at all, except for there were certain rules. They didn't tell you that you had to braid your daughter's hair, but it certainly was encouraged. Modesty was always the order of the day. Have everything below below here covered and so forth. Some women covered their heads. We weren't told that we had to. But in its own way, this culture was very oppressive. And you were supposed to be more inwardly focused and very sin focused. And what that sin focused strategy does most of the time, I never really saw it help anyone. Everyone was miserable all the time, and I know that I certainly was. Everyone was real severe and very much like Stepford wives and Stepford children. The men were always happy, but as far as the women and children, the followers, uh, it was so. It's like going around with a noose around your neck. And these days, since I've gotten free of them and their influence, I've experimented with different looks and hair dye and things like that. Things that were not specifically banned, but certainly discouraged by your social circle that you were in. And I'll show you, I've got like a ton of makeup that I've bought since getting free of that culture. And it's it's something that I certainly used to use a lot when I was in my theater days as a very young girl. I was once very active on the stage, and while makeup was not my forte, was not my that was not my strength about the theater. I certainly did my own makeup before going on stage or auditioning and so forth. So there are some things, some rules that I remember, but we're talking about 1980 versus 2017. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm still trying to figure out what all this stuff is for and where it goes and in what amounts and that sort of thing. And I have actually stopped people in the makeup sections of stores saying, do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? Where does it go? And that sort of thing. So I'm going to experiment with different looks, and I guess I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride. Becoming free of cultic influence is never easy, and this conditioning that you go through when you join an oppressive culture, especially a religious one, the conditioning takes place over weeks, months, years, in my case, decades. So undoing all of that conditioning is not a simple thing. Of course, I went through very good therapy with a great therapist, with two great therapists actually, and have successfully completed the emotional end of things. And now it's time for me Now, especially since I'm going to try to enter the workforce at 50, a bit unnerving. I'm only newly educated. I had a high school diploma, but you don't get a whole lot of education in an oppressive separatist culture. So I'm trying to re-enter the workforce, or enter the workforce actually, as a 50-year-old, and so I've got to understand how to dress and how to look like a professional, worthy of the license that I'm hoping to get as a family therapist. And I have to try to understand what all these things are for, and where they go. And I do know that this is an eyelash curler, but I don't know how to use it without hurting myself. So if anyone has any ideas about, how to get it where it needs to go without blinding yourself, which is something that I see in my future if I don't get some help with that. I would love to have some tips and tricks if you could post them in your comments below. And if you would like to, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.